objects used in your films found, bought, or entirely fabricated?
We're huge traversers of markets, second-hand markets. London is one of the great ones. It has Portobello. Well, it used to have Camden Market, which we use less, but we actually found one of the puppets in Camden Market, the one that features 3 times in 3 of the films, Still Not One, The Comb, and Piano Tuner. But I think the most important thing about markets for us is the unexpected. You go there, you might anticipate something, but you have no realization that you'll achieve it. And I think it's part of the chance encounter effect that is it's the bonus, but also there's great disappointment at the same time. We can traverse markets for months looking for a puppet or an object, or that's something that we feel we've got to go out and look for. So in that context.
But on the other hand, like a film like the last one you saw, or Crocodiles, they weren't found objects. They were just us constructing puppets that fit the scenario that you had preconceived. Although, say in Gilgamesh, the last one, we went after a certain grotesqueness, whereas in Crocodiles, it was you had a tailor shop and the assistants, so you had to fulfill those elements. So it really depends on what the project is. Rehearsals, I don't think I played tonight, but that was much more, the puppets were much more abstract, and where we actually used found elements and created, almost in the style of Archimboldo, you collaged the objects.
You have said that Bruno Schulz, in one of the passages from Taylor's Dummies, practically outlined your technique and aesthetic. Would you like to talk about that a little further? The manifesto, the so-called manifesto.
I mean, to be very brief, I would say it's the ascension of the degraded reality. Those things that people would otherwise not look at become, for us, or for Bruno Schulz, have such pregnancy of potential. And I think that's when everyone stops and says it's trash, we say no, it's not trash. In that lifelessness, there's hidden forms of life. And I think that's, very briefly, that's that.
Okay. So you've embraced that philosophically, like that very brief sentence, we shall give, it says that the demiurge, favored, splendid material, we shall give priority to trash. Is there a little bit of humor there? Perhaps, or in the repetition, or in the repetition of we could afford nothing better. That's kind of reiterated at the close of Street Crocodiles, or is it?
I think that
a dark humor, Kafkaesque.
It's at once. Okay, we don't plan humor, but it's an admonition. Okay. I suspect more than anything else.
Okay. Fragonard's The Bolt was central, as an image, was central to rehearsals for Extinct Anatomies, and I know that Bauchlin's Isle of the Dead, as a visual image, was central to the overall visual aesthetic to Piano Tuner of Earthquakes. Could you just talk about that, or maybe is there a secret visual source for one of the films that they've seen tonight?
Well, I just think that we have I think like any filmmaker, you sort of have an archive, a mental archive of all the books, all the images you've ever seen, all the paintings. And I think that, for instance, in the Piano Tuner, there was an image by Magritte, which was called The Empire of Light. And I think it's the one, it is the one where you see a bright sky in daytime with clouds, but down below a forest of trees and a house which is lit, and it's nighttime. And I think that when we did Piano Tuner, we wanted to create that simultaneity of it was daytime and all at the same time nighttime, so it was a kind of in-between world. And I don't think we pulled it off. I know we didn't pull it off, but it's still, it's something that you aim for. And also, like, if you talk about the Fragonard etching, it's a frozen image.
Well, it was two, because there was a painting.
Okay, let me finish. Just that in the etching, it's a powerful gesture, which you're not sure if the man is bolting the lock to keep her in, or to prevent her from somebody from coming in. So in a way, it set up. It was an ambiguous image. Well, at least we read it as that. And for us, when we did rehearsals, it was really that there was something outside that was fermenting or out there that may be trying to get in. But it's true. Go ahead.
No, but also that the fact that her hand was on the bolt was that she was preventing him from closing it. Though she wanted it to open. But at the same time, Fragonard had a cousin who was the celebrated anatomist. And we only discovered this as we ventured into the film. He was the one who created I don't know whether there's outside of Paris, like 20 kilometers south, there's this veterinarian school in which there's this famous horse which is dissected, and there's a naked man on top, but it's just made of muscle, bone, arteries.
Well, it's a vast flayed horse, like size.
Flayed, literally. And the whole museum is devoted to this side of the veterinarian side. So when we said rehearsals for extinct anatomies, we had then pursued a secondary course, which again was a chance of coming. Nobody has to know this.
The German word Stimmung is difficult to define in English, but it is important in your films and to your overall aesthetic. I was wondering if you could educate us a bit further on this.
Well, usually that word Stimmung is related to the German expressionist cinema, which is, as we know, was the silent cinema. And it's a word that I think translates in English as mood or atmosphere, but I think in the German, I think apparently there's a much more metaphysical aura about the word. And I think for us it's always been one that when we make a decor, it has to be a poetic vessel, and within that vessel you have to create, through mood and atmosphere, a kind of thickness or a density to your images, and that's how the fiction then goes through it, and that's just something that we feel is very important.
Thank you. Is there any one or any philosophical systems that influence your work?
I think in principle we're against systems, but yet the system that we propose would be an anti-system of we said like the 13th freak month, something that Bruno Schulz proposed, which would take hours to talk about. The unnamed, the unclassifiable, the back door instead of the front door, non-official,
Footnotes, marginalia, errata, anything that escapes
classification. And I think that is the premise in which we propose to generate material, and it's the only way we can be comfortable with that material, because if we were given a masterpiece, we'd hemorrhage. hide it.
I'll let you know.
I might let some of you know. Secrets, yes. Okay, questions from all of you. Yes.
When you guys were growing up, were you influenced by Willis O'Brien and Ray Harryhausen at all?
Norman Rockwell.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I have a question about the tennis rackets that Gil mentioned also and Street Crocodiles. The way that it's broken in half, it kind of looks like a cue. I'm wondering if it's kind of like a miniature signature for you guys off the play duality, or whether you just kind of threw tennis rackets as man.
That was one of the anonymous found objects that in Fairview Village, where we were as kids, we found one on the telephone lines. So we immediately ran out, got our 8mm camera. One of us jumped in the wheelbarrow, and we tracked under it, doing this. We had to film it. We knew it was something stupid, but it seemed to.
Yes, we knew it was profound.
Yeah, yeah. We knew something was there. And then later it disappeared, and then the film came back, and it messed up in the developing. So then we went out to the local tennis racket shop, bought another tennis racket, spent about a couple of hours heaving it up in the air, trying to get it to snag. And then we did get it. And then we refilmed it. But it's in an early film that we one of those lost films. It's so it was easier to make it as a puppet racket that big.
Yes, please.
How did you first get into animation and
Back door.
A bad career move. No, I did. All I was just going to say was that we were terribly frustrated with doing drawings that didn't have the third dimension, that couldn't use music, that couldn't use sound, and we realized that working at the same scale as our drawings with puppets, that would solve the problem. It could solve the problem.
I was just enlightened as to how stop action works, because I asked a friend, how do they manage to film it without their hands being seen?
It took us ages to sort that one out.
Those are part of the lost films.
She explained, you move it, you shoot it, you move it, you shoot it, and something ticked off. I know there's an acting exercise where you slow things down, like you take smoking a cigarette or some action, and you really see every single second that's involved in making it, and that teaches you something. So I wondered what you learn from having to break down all those movements.
We never did that.
Oh.
I mean, you don't have to slow things down to know you make mistakes. Or to see your hands in frame.
No, I just meant the process of breaking it down.
Yep.
You don't have to answer, maybe.
But we got over that pretty quickly. Stockhausen was a great provocation because it's like each day. Normally, if you have a soundtrack or music, which is, if you could say, chromatic or fairly simplistic, that's quite easy because you can find the measure of a so-called melody. Stockhausen was idiosyncratic in that it was so intense that we could only listen 7 seconds a day. And at the end of the day, we then propose play the next 7 seconds. We'd look at each other saying, "What are we going to do with this 7 seconds?" So that was an accumulative, and it was 7 seconds per day. I'm being facetious, but it could be 10, it could have been 4. But Stockhausen is something profoundly celestial, that's something that is not on this earth.
But I think it's, as we said, I don't know, to the other students, that by having the music first, it's very, the music for us is the secret scenario, that we don't overly have a verbal, a literary text that we build to then follow. We find it in the music. And having the music first actually, I think, is a fantastic way to approach. Because nobody goes around saying, like, that symphony had a lousy narrative, or that piece of music had a lousy narrative. It has its own laws and its own meanderings, and I think that's something that's what we want film to do. It doesn't have to obey dramaturgical laws.
David, 2 more questions.
2 more questions.
In rehearsals, there's a staircase that puppets cannot reach. Where does it go, and can something come down?
Something does come down. But they were meant to be sort of metaphysical spaces that surrounded a more human space. So off to the sides, above, below, to the other side, and back were all spaces which were, as it were, outside our realm. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. There's somebody back.
Do you get your images from dreams?
Rarely. No, because it might be one little point, but I don't think we make a feast out of it.
One more.
What were your earliest toys as brothers? What were your earliest toys that you played with?
We were for the American Indians, so there were bows and arrows and things like that.